Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, heard Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern on PSA.com and the PSA Facebook page. The Great American Collectibles Show is brought to you by PSA and the National Sports Collectors Convention. Tonight's headlines are brought to you by Sports Collectors Daily. For all of your hobby news, features, and more, visit sportscollectorsdaily.com. And now, your hosts, Tom Zappala and John Molori.
JM, my boy, how you doing, brother?
What's up, Zap? How you doing?
Keeping warm up there?
Not really. It's been cold, man. No,
Yeah.
I'm cold. How you doing?
That's cold here, too. It's 74.
I love it.
No, it's about 78. Hey, listen, I was going to have a headline this week, but since it was going to be about the National, but we decided to ask John Broggi to come on, so John's going to be on later on. Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show.
How about the headline that Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are all lovey-dovey again?
Yeah,
now?
did you see? Were they really kissing?
I don't know if they kissed, but there was a strong hug and some facial touching. So, yeah.
Wow, I couldn't believe that. Anyway, we have a great show today. Welcome, Tom Zappala, and my good friend and co-host, John Molori. Today we have a good show. We're going to bring in a couple of seconds. We're going to bring in Paul Borges from PB Collectibles. We love Paul because Paul represents all of the small shops across the country.
That's right.
He's going to become the poster boy for those shops. And then we're going to bring in another good friend who I love. I love this guy dearly, Bobby Livingston from RR Auction. We love Bobby. We have some history with Bobby. We've had some fun with Bobby, actually. And then lastly, we've got John Broggi from the National coming in to join us. But let's bring in Paul first.
Yeah.
Paul Borges from PB Collectibles. How are you, Paul?
Good. How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
Hey, Paul.
Good. Nice to see you. Hey, I got to show you guys this. So many of you know Michael Variali is a big follower of the show.
Yep.
And he's just been such supportive. So he was down here in Florida, so he invited me to breakfast, and I said, as long as I can pay. He said, which is history in itself. So he said to me, okay, fine, I'm bringing you a couple of presents. So he brought me two presents, one of which I'm going to give to Staten Island Joe Marino, and this is an official signed Greg Jeffries ball.
Oh, jeez.
Now, this will go, I'm going to give this to Joe this weekend, and this is going to go with the 4,389,000 Greg Jeffrey rookie cards.
That's the next Pete Rose, right?
He tried to speculate.
That was the
on
next
that.
Pete Rose, right?
Now, the other ball,
right.
The other ball that he gave me is really close to my heart. And tonight, as a matter of fact, we're going to be cooking on the grill, and I'm going to put this ball on the grill. And this is a autographed Bucky effing Dent.
Oh, my Lord.
Baseball.
Oh, boy.
So, Michael, thank you very much
78.
for absolutely nothing. But anyways,
Just take it to like a shooting range down there and shoot the hell out of it, will you, please?
Exactly. All right, Paul. I don't know if you heard the introduction. You are going to become the poster boy for the small shops across the country.
Yeah.
Because you are really the bloodline for the collectibles world.
That one-on-one, face-to-face with the fans, with the collectors, right?
So tell us what's going on at PB Collectibles with some of the cool stuff you have.
Well, we've been very fortunate. We've got a few nice items, as I mentioned to you earlier this week, that have come into the shop. I got about 40 autograph bats, mostly Hall of Famers, that came in. We've got just recently a set of Flair baseball, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63 to 60.
Complete sets?
Complete sets.
Great.
Cool.
There's some great players in those, man.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
And as I showed you earlier, we're starting to get back. I was lucky enough last year to go on a buying trip that I heard about from a customer, and I went down to Warner Robins, Georgia, actually to buy a collection that I heard about, every baseball set from 53 to last year. So I flew down, rented a Penske truck, and we worked out a deal, and I brought them all back, and they sit for quite a while in a storage unit here. and plugging away at it. And
so, Paul, are you going to keep those in sets? Are you going to break them out? What is your strategy for this?
we've already started breaking them
You have?
down.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So now, for the most part, I have tons of commons. Basically, pretty strong from about 52 up. No high numbers in 52, but I have lots and lots of commons from all of those years, obviously.
Wow.
Paul, do you do many shows?
I do probably about 6.
Oh, you do?
You know, maybe 6 a year. And because like I told you before, I teach at a local university here. So in the wintertime, I'm pretty busy. And once May hits, we're open 7 days a week here at the shop.
So Paul, I always wonder, since you're playing off what Zap said to open the show, how you have that face-to-face, one-on-one contact, you know, with your customers and people, as opposed to, say, an auction where it's online and everything like that. You know, kind of basic question. What's hot, what's not? What's on the mind of consumers right now? People coming into the shop. Are they looking vintage? Are they looking modern? What are they looking for now?
For me, the younger kids are the modern stuff. The Joe Burrows of the world, the Mahomes, you know, the Herberts. Mac Jones has definitely cooled down.
Yeah,
in
more ways than one. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Yes, he has.
Hey, you know what? That could be a card now, though, with the beefed up coaching staff.
If he comes back,
you never know, right?
I mean,
he didn't really have any weapons. Let's face it. I mean,
and the coaching was terrible. So we're hoping. I think this is obviously going to be the make or break for Mac this year. Yeah.
Hey, Paul, you have some 50 and 51 Bowmans that I see.
I did. I don't have those here at the shop presently because I sent a lot of that out already. So I broke that down. That came in last week from a former student of mine at Salve. So they were lower condition. I had the Jackie. I didn't have the Mickey, but I did have from a man that came in earlier this year. I had the 51 mantle, and I received 4 of those.
You have 4 of those?
I have four mantles. They're all lower condition.
But you know something, Paul? That's a perfect example of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
For the average collector. I mean, that's
right.
still, what is that graded, a 1?
This is a 1.
Yeah, that's still about an $8,000 card, isn't it?
It's not a bad. Yes, you're right. So he came in with that 452 mantle Bowmans, no 52 tops.
Yeah,
unfortunately, and a few 51 Mays that I've since sold. A few of those. I had the Hank Aaron.
Yeah,
I had 3 Hank Aarons. I still have 4 left. So. It's been really, I've been very fortunate for a little spot here in Newport, very small, to have a lot of people come in. So to answer your question, John, if it's young kids, they're looking for the newer stuff, you know.
Yep.
And if it's, but my real base for the shop is really the vintage stuff.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. This summer, but we're just about out of time, but this summer we are going to make a road trip, JM.
We have to go down there, definitely.
And we're going to get Petroselli to come with us, make a road trip down to your shop, and maybe Rika can do a little signing, and John and I will do a little schmoozing.
Excellent. I would love it.
Yeah, we'd love to do that.
All right, your website address is?
pbcollectibles.com.
All right, listen, folks, here's what it's all about. Support all of the little card shops in your town. They're starting to pop up all over the place. Those are the people that are really the bloodline to this hobby. All right, Paul, we love you, and we'll talk to you down the road.
Thanks
Paul.
So much, you guys. Have a great day.
Take care. Paul Borges from PB Collectibles. Nice guy, huh?
The best. Awesome. Just awesome.
He really is, Jim.
Yeah.
You know, he's one of these guys that you can tell. You know, he and I hit it off. He approached me at the Shriners.
Yep.
But I just said to Ellen, this guy, he's legit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's great. Really, you know, he's always on the lookout for things. He goes down to Georgia for a buy, and he's got a good read on what his customers want. And you love to see businesses like that stay. We always talk about, you know, the old days, going into the card shop and stuff like that, and he's keeping it real right now. So
absolutely. All right, so let's bring in. How do I describe this gentleman? Colorful.
He's a bon vivant. He's a raconteur.
Bon vivant, handsome.
Man about town, well-dressed, well-groomed.
I think he's a mediocre guitarist, but he thinks he's like Jimi Hendrix. But aside from that, let's bring in our good friend, Bobby Livingston from RR Auction. How are you, Bobby boy?
Tom, I am fantastic. New England misses you. You've got quite the tan.
Speak for yourself.
You snowbird.
So, Bobby, before we get into the nuts and bolts of this auction that is blowing me away, are you a really decent guitarist or are you mediocre?
I'm a pretty darn good songwriter, Tom. I'm very proud of my work in order to write some lyrics that I'm very proud of. Now, to get to that, I do have to play guitar, and I would say I'm a capable guitar player.
Okay, more of a rhythm player, though, right?
I'm an old folk rocker, so it makes it easy for me. Real quick, the secret of having a great rock band is to surround yourself with people that are a lot better than you, Tom.
No doubt.
Absolutely. Been there.
That's what Zap does with this show.
All right, Bobby, let's talk about the auction, man. This thing has blown me away. First of all, just about everything is PSA encapsulated, right? Or you've got a ton of stuff. Every single thing.
Wow.
Unbelievable. All right, so.
Well, the reason, look, here's the thing. We've been partnering with PSA since the beginning. You know, they used our authenticators. We were on their board. We work very closely with the original PSA team. And so we've been partnering together for well over 20 years now. And it just makes a lot of sense for us to encapsulate raw signatures and use PSA to do that. Because, Tom, one of the things, and John, we noticed over the years is companies were buying raw autographs out of our sale, taking them and cutting them up terribly and placing them on baseball cards. And they would buy full, beautiful, historic documents and cut them to pieces, which was,
Jesus.
so that was horrifying to us as a traditional manuscript auction house. So what we decided to do over the last couple of years is go ahead and get everything encapsulated ourselves, making sure they weren't defaced, and present them to the people that collect baseball cards. And then you can have a fantastic autograph, encapsulated, graded, and it makes sense with us. And we're pretty proud of what we've done here.
I got to tell you something. I don't want to limit the discussion of this auction to sports memorabilia, because the stuff that you have, the historical stuff that you have, is museum quality stuff that belongs in the freaking Smithsonian. I'm serious, Bobby. I mean, stuff by tell us about what's this Free Frank stuff about?
You don't know what a Free Frank is, Tom?
Yeah, Free Frank is when you get a free hot dog.
Yeah, right.
No. So there was a tradition in the United States that the president didn't have to pay for a postage stamp. All he had to do was address the envelope, and he'd sign his name up, where the stamp would go, and the letter would be mailed for free. So it's pretty interesting. You get these envelopes, instead of stamps, you get George Washington's name up in the corner. So we have one of those, and it's encapsulated by PSA. So again, it would be a tragedy if they opened that up and cut the signature off. But an envelope tells a story. It tells you who Washington was writing to. And so it's a great artifact. It's encapsulated. It's graded, and Free Franks are neat. They're people that just collect envelopes signed by presidents.
Very cool. JM?
Well, just playing off what you said a little bit. I mean, I went on the website, and I couldn't believe the things you have, Bobby. I mean, the presidential stuff. And again, this show is always branching out from sports, but I mean, I want to say, where'd you get it? Is it one source? Is it multiple sources?
Yeah, that's a great question.
How do you come across? I mean, we're talking about high-end documents, letters.
Abigail Adams.
From Abe Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, FDR. It's like, this isn't like, this is the real deal, man. How'd you come across this stuff?
Well, it's sourced from all different consigners.
Yeah.
We've been in business since 1976, and we're autograph specialists, manuscript specialists that specialize in historic figures, not sports. Now, we get sports things as part of the consignment process, but we get more presidents than anyone, and we have sales every month, and so we're getting raw material from from people that were collecting 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, and these are raw autographs. We sell every month manuscripts. Over the last several months, we've been curating. Hey, this would look good in a holder. This would be really great in a holder. This is 3 pages letter. Let's put it in our regular sale. So we're getting these particular items from our regular consignor base, and we've got a very passionate collector base that doesn't necessarily buy PSA encapsulated items. They like them raw, but it's traditional, John, for us to get this quality of material from George Washington to Albert Einstein to Thomas Edison, to Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
I mean, really cool stuff.
Well, can I just quick? So, are you impressed, Bobby, as someone who's been in the business so long and has an expertise in autographs, at the condition of these items that are like 200 plus years old? I mean, how are they even still in existence?
They're kept in files. One of the tragedies, by the way, is when I walk into someone's home that has a big manuscript collection. They've got them on the walls without museum quality glass, and expose things to sunlight. Oh, that's a tragedy.
Right.
But most condition, guys, is so important to what we accept and sell, because if it's really beat up, we typically will decline it unless it's in a very important piece. And our buyers are very particular about condition, and so we try really hard when we write an auction description to point out the flaws, which maybe a lot of auction companies don't want to say. Look, it's got foxing, it's got creases, they've stayed in this condition because they were collected over the centuries. People didn't throw away their George Washington letters, or the ones that didn't realize they had value, so they've saved them, and they have significance.
Yeah,
Bobby, of the sports items that you have, you got a lot of boxing, which I'm a boxing fan, big boxing fan. I have a really cool memorabilia collection from one boxer, but one sign sheet that sticks out is the Abe Attell. I mean, Abe Attell, there's always been a mystique behind him with the Chicago Black Sox gambler.
Right.
That's a great piece. Great piece. Are there many of those around?
It's rare, but we get really interesting figures appear for us all the time. So that's what's really great about the autograph collections that get sent in, is that you never know who's going to be in there, and we get a lot of great boxing material.
Did you get the boxing material from one source? Because
No.
you got Jim Corbett, you got Primo Canary, you got Jim Braddock. I mean, you got some really cool stuff, man.
Well, these guys, you could write to them, way back in the day, and they would send you the signed photos. So there were a lot of generalists, autograph collectors that wanted to get autographs from famous people. So they come out of various collections, not all the same. It's not like we picked up a big boxing collection.
Right. We are chatting with, we got about a minute left for this first segment. Shit. Oh, crap. Sorry. There was one other thing I wanted to ask you, and I lost my train of thought about. I wanted to tell you about, Ellen and I, we ghost wrote former welterweight champ, undisputed welterweight champ, Tony DeMarco. We ghost wrote his autobiography for him. And Tony became like my second father over a period of 15 or 16 years. Some of the cool stuff that is sitting in his wife's closet is absolutely mind-boggling. He's got mementos, and she's got mementos, all kinds of stuff from Rocky Marciano, all the greatest fighters in the history of the world, gloves, shoes, robes that she's collected. And I mentioned you guys to her, Bobby, that when the time comes to give you a call.
Well, we'd be grateful, Tom. That's something we're really proud of, is when we can represent someone's lifetime collection and really focus on the legacy of that person and celebrate. Because families, to get rid of that stuff they've had for generations, it's really appropriate not only to sell it for the highest price, but to honor the memory.
And Tony's 2 fights with Carmen Basilio at the time were voted 2 of the top 10 greatest fights of all time.
And don't you guys both think? I think in terms of collectibles, and
we
even
got about 30 seconds.
And in historic, we can pick it up after the break. That I think boxing is second only to baseball in the historic lineage of it. You know what I mean? We can talk about more about that after the break. But yeah.
All right, Bobby's in the house. Bobby Livingston from RR Auctions. He's going to be with us for the remainder of the show. Hang in there. We'll be right back.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Let's go! Batter up!
Hi, everyone. This is Rico Petrocelli. JustCollect.com, a leader in the vintage sports card industry, is giving free appraisals on your vintage cards. They'll evaluate your collection for free and let you know the value of it at no cost and no obligation. If you're ready to sell, JustCollect.com will offer you industry-leading prices to buy your card collection. To begin your free baseball card appraisal, visit JustCollect.com or call them at 732-828-2261. That's JustCollect.com for your free vintage card appraisals and top buy prices for your cards. Check out JustCollect.com today.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectibles Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back, and Bobby Livingston is in the house from well, he's not really in the house. He's in his own house or his office.
Hey, good to have. We have
lazy.
a couple of New England guys to open the show today,
yeah,
right?
but he was too lazy.
Paul down
to
in Rhode
get in his
Island
car,
and
something.
Bobby
I don't
in New
want to hear it.
Hampshire.
He could have gotten in his car, driven
That's all
down
right.
to the studio.
That's
it's
okay.
a 40-minute ride. He's got nothing to do.
He's got nothing to do. He's got a nice background, though,
Bobby.
right there, though. See, that's a great background.
He does.
Man. Yeah.
Hey,
Bobby.
Listen. By the way, that studio that you guys have is first rate. I was there the last time we did this interview. You guys are.
Yeah, that's right.
You have
yeah,
great studio, great production. So, Tom,
and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bobby.
Sure.
Bobby, you guys get into horse racing much? Because that's another. I'm not a gambler, but I'm a horse racing fan. I love the history of horse racing. Do you guys get into that much?
Well, we have. We've had some really fascinating objects. We sold some hair from one of the groomsmen of Secretariat. When he won the Triple Crown, one of the groomsmen
clipped him.
Yeah. So it came, with that, it came with great provenance. We knew the guy was in the stable, and we sold that for, well over $10,000, if I recall. One of the other cool horse racing things we had some tickets where they used to write the horses' names on it, and they came out of some gangster's bookkeeping. We had a $2 ticket to win on Seabiscuit. So
wow.
So things like that are fascinating.
But that's the cool stuff. That's the cool stuff.
Right.
I mean,
right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like you guys, again, folks, I'm asking you to go onto their auction site and just check out the stuff. How many different categories are there? 30 or 40 different categories.
Right. Right.
Besides sports, again, you do have some really, really cool sports. I want to talk about soccer for a second. Now, with the death, I know that you have a signed Pele jersey, I believe. Correct, Bobby?
Yeah. Yep. We sure do. Yep.
Now, with the death of him recently, when something like that happens to an athlete, does the piece of memorabilia go up in price, in value?
Typically, it does because of the emotional connection to that particular person.
Well, it also brings him back into the news as well because I'm down front page headlines, right?
Good point,
right, Bobby?
Yeah, I apologize, guys.
No, it's okay.
You're not dying on us. Right? Listen to me. Do not die on us right now. I'm begging you.
You're bad.
If you could leave that in, I'd be so grateful. Especially when the. I think when anybody like Pele passes away, of course, people have an emotional connection to Pele, and so the prices rise. One of the great things, though, about Pele is he made himself available to sports fans and signed lots of things and had the human interaction at the National Sports Convention or wherever he might have been. He was a figure that was accessible. So there's lots of signed things and that you can get from him with his name on it. So that's when someone like Prince passed away or Princess Diana passed away, where you didn't have them signing a lot of things, and prices go really high. So it's supply and demand.
I love the auctions you have, Bobby, and I love this discussion because it's kind of given us a chance to talk about some of the sports we don't talk about a lot, like boxing, like horse racing. You've had a lot of Olympic memorabilia as well.
Tons.
Can you just talk about some of the stuff you've had or that you have now that are out there for people?
Well, we've become one of the leading auction houses that focus on an auction just on Olympic medals.
Yeah.
And so the prices have been going up. It's not a large collector base, but they want a gold medal from every Olympic.
Yeah.
Which, and there's only so few that get to market because obviously these are treasured by families. But as generations go by, we get. Can you imagine we get a gold medal from 1896?
No, see, that's what I'm saying. How the hell do you get stuff like that?
High prices, getting in the newspaper with a high price, like, all right, we could use $100,000.
Another thing that you guys really are into is space travel, space navigation, the Apollo program. I mean, what do you guys have an exclusive on that stuff?
No. The space auction started in the '90s with our big brother, Sotheby's, Christie's, Heritage. They all do very good space auctions. We're just a little bit of a smaller company, and we were able to, we're able to nudge our way in there. And all of a sudden, we became one of the leading auction houses of NASA items. And, many of the astronauts are or were our consigners. So, the provenance, was it on the moon? Yeah. I mean, John, we sell things that were on the moon. Right?
I want to know how you authenticated the secret. Was it Seabiscuit's hair, or was it Secretariat?
What Secretariat?
How did you? Was there a picture of the guy like this? How you know what I mean?
Well, I think we've talked about this before, Tom. But there's a long tradition of collecting humans' hair as signs of affection. So
they've taken most of mine. So
I'm telling you, Lamazzo still got screwed because Lamazzo bought a piece of Elvis's hair, and I'm telling you, this was a local barber from Lawrence that took it off the floor and sold it to Lamazzo. Lamazzo thinks it's Elvis's hair. Like ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous.
On that stuff, though, it's chain of custody. Where did it come from? Did the person, so typically, if you get a piece of Lincoln's hair, it comes with a letter of provenance from like 1865,
right?
Or 1900,
I know.
Direct line. So the Secretariat hair, came from the groomsman. He was there. And he's, a lot of articles written about him. So, there's always with artifacts, unless you get it right from the person, which we did in that case, there's a little bit of leap of faith. So we try to lock it up as much as possible. So when you bid and win it, you're comfortable with it, because we never want, we won't sell anything that is not locked up with provenance.
We are chatting with Bobby Livingston from our auction. JM, while we're chatting with Bobby, why don't you dig out your little read there for our good friend Charlie Perino and JRI Cards.
I will do just that, Zap. If you want to have an absolute blast at obtaining some great modern and vintage cards, you got to check out JRI Cards. Our paisan, as Zap said, Charlie the Iron Ripper.
I'm having lunch with him next week, by the way.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Nice warm weather lunch.
Well, plus I may be broadcasting from his studio.
Oh, nice. Excellent.
You're out.
Along with Triple H, Money Marco, the Dollar Girls, and the JRI Gang, they give you the chance to participate in opening an unopened and sealed fresh waxed or cello pack of your favorite sport. Who knows? You might wind up with a Nolan Ryan, an Aaron, Montana, Peyton, or even a Mantle. It's easy. You buy in, JRI opens the pack on live stream, and you get a card. It's that simple. As a matter of fact, if you pull that special jewel, the guys at JRI Cards will even have it graded for you. Featured in the LA Times, ESPN, and USA Radio, JRI is the hottest card pulling show going right now on the internet. And let's not forget that JRI donates a part of their proceeds to various charities. So that's JRI Cards, the break show that everyone is talking about. They're always digging up cardboard treasures. For a great hobby experience, go to jricards.com.
Well done. We are chatting with Bobby Livingston from our auction. Bobby, what is the single coolest thing that has gone through your hands?
Well, it didn't go through my hand, but we auctioned off the seat for $28 million that you could ride next to Jeff Bezos into space. So that that is the coolest thing we were involved in. Blue Origin, his rocket company, contacted us and asked us to organize the sale and vet all the bidders, and we did that. And we had 23 people ready to bid $5 million on the. It was all phone bidding, so it was an incredible day for us, and I think it's probably the coolest we've ever auctioned. Maybe the coolest thing that has ever gone through my hands, or at least the first thing that comes
physical,
to mind.
tangible thing.
Yeah,
we had so Professor Einstein would when he'd write a letter and he was talking about E = mc², he called it the theory of relativity. He didn't write out the formula, right? And so we had a letter where he was arguing with a fellow physicist, and basically Einstein wasn't German, but he's giving this guy the business, and he said, "Look, just use E equals MC squared. That'll solve all your problems." Albert Einstein, and it was like to see him use it in the context of a sentence and not on a chalkboard, that was pretty incredible. But every month, if you look at our website, there's something fantastic. So
I'm looking. You got something by Tolstoy. You got a Tolstoy. You got something by Leo Tolstoy. I don't. Gandhi, right?
Yeah, right.
Mahatma Gandhi.
One of the things that really is a kind of a cool item, it's actually framed. It looks like a nice piece. You have the bullet that Jack Ruby fired at Lee Harvey Oswald.
No way. Not the bullet. Not the bullet. Okay. Unfortunately,
the shell.
Oswald got
not the bullet, right? The bullet is somewhere in Oswald. But
very, very famously, Jack Ruby's brother was able to get the gun back from the Dallas Police Department after he assassinated Oswald, and so he put it up for auction in the Herman Darbick auction way back in the 80s, and it sold for a whole ton of money to a very famous collector named Anthony Puglisi. And Puglisi took the gun and fired like 200 shots into a swimming pool, and those are the bullets that we have. But it was actually, they're really cool, though.
Yeah, it's a really cool piece.
Yeah.
Bobby, is there a big, this must be a big JFK assassination collectors group that, whatever they can get their hands on?
Yeah, there absolutely is. JFK's assassination for people of a certain generations, they never forget that moment. And,
like me.
Right. And so a lot of the things that we get to sell, which is really incredible, like the Ruby gun, is a lot of the evidence that was used in the Warren Commission belonged to the Oswald family. So he sent it all back to his mother, and she started selling it. So we've sold Oswald's Marine Corps gunnery book that his scorecard from the Marines, absolutely authentic, and it showed that Oswald could hit a bullseye 600 yards in the wind, and it had all the markings signed by the sergeant. So to have evidence, be able to collect evidence that kind of points toward Oswald was a lone assassin.
Sure.
Not to start anything, but
absolutely. You're making a great point.
The other cool thing we had is that his mother, so Oswald wrote to his mother when he defected to the Soviet Union, says, "Mom, I need some money." So his mother sends him a Western Union check for $20. And he sends it back and says, "Mom, I'm in Russia. It's the Western Union. Can you send me some cash?" So we had the actual Western Union check, which is
that's classic.
It's indisputable. Why would somebody create a piece of evidence like that?
You're making a point of the point you brought up about when Jack Ruby took out Oswald. I was in 6th grade. I'll never forget that. I mean, there are certain things that stick out in your mind, and that weekend was, for people my age, was just off the charts. But we had just sat down to Sunday dinner, and we had a little portable TV on a stand that was in the living room, and my father was able to roll the TV into the doorway so that we could watch what was going on. And we're sitting down there, and Jack Ruby on live TV offs Lee Harvey Oswald. All I remember was my mother started screaming like, "This isn't happening. This isn't happening." It was like little things like that just stick out in your mind with the Kennedy assassination, man.
And I think that's the allure of all these items. You actually have a letter from Jackie Kennedy, right? And you have some other First Lady items, right, Bobby?
Yeah, Jackie Kennedy, is really as close. Kennedys were a royal family in America.
Closest thing we had to it, no doubt. Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And Jackie corresponded a lot, and she wrote lots of beautiful letters. And if you look at her penmanship, I mean, it's just gorgeous. Just the way her letter formations
are.
Lovely
woman.
And so we get a lot of great Jackie Kennedy letters, and also a lot of First Ladies. If you're interested in that type of thing. I mean, these are all witnesses to history. They were there in the White House with their husbands, so it's
Very
usually
cool.
some really cool stuff.
We are chatting with Bobby Livingston from RR Auctions. East Coast Sports Marketing and Hunt Auctions are pleased to present the Philly Show. Actually, it's called the Philadelphia Sports Collectors Show. The Philly Show from Friday, March 10th through Sunday, March 12th at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center Hall, 100 Station Ave, Oaks, Pennsylvania. Shop over 250 of your favorite hobby dealer booths on over 75,000 square feet of sports collectibles heaven from the 1800s to present day. Major sports auction houses and third-party grading and authentication companies are on hand to assist your collecting needs. The Philly Show is family-friendly, and all kids 10 and under get in for free. Autographed guests include Johnny Bench, Mike Schmidt, Steve Carlton, baseball stars Pete Rose and Ken Griffey Sr., and many, many more. For more information, go to thephillyshow.com. Remember, since 1975, the Philly Show is where it all started. We got about a minute left for this segment, Bobby. Getting back to your sports memorabilia, tell us about a few of the cool things that you have in the auction, if you can remember.
Well, if you recall, this is all PSA encapsulated, and it's all fresh material. This has never been in a holder before, at least most of it.
Right.
So it's not just sports. It's astronauts, it's military people, it's Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison.
Yep.
Cool stuff, man.
Musk. It's all in here, and so it's a great variety of things to supplement your collection. With historic figures that you just don't get. I think there's something for everybody. So go to rrauction.com and check it out.
All right, listen, now you're going to stick with us to the end of the show. We're going to take a quick break. We come back, hopefully John Broggi from the National. Do you guys go to the National? Or sometimes you do, sometimes you don't.
Well, there's no tables. How do you get a booth?
I know, it's next to impossible. We'll ask John that question. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Hang in there. We will be right back.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
With record-breaking sales from everything from the white border T206 Honus Wagner for $3.12 million to some great items that support the Jackie Robinson Foundation, Golden Auctions has set the highest standards for the finest in sports cards, autographs, and game-used memorabilia. We're always accepting consignments of high-end premium sports treasures or entire collections. Please register for our next auction and bid now at goldenauctions.com. That's golden with an I. We at Golden Auctions are committed to providing unsurpassed customer service for the discriminating collector. That's exactly why we're the leader in the industry. Visit goldenauctions.com or call 856-767-8550. Remember, Golden Auctions. We don't just break records, we shatter them.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden Auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. The highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
They are prized possessions, and you need a place to store them that is safe and secure. The eBay Vault is exactly that. An insured, climate-controlled facility with state-of-the-art security that guards your valuable collection around the clock. Your Vault account is protected by two-step verification and easily accessible through eBay Collection. And everything stored in the eBay Vault is backed by Authenticity Guarantee. Buying and selling is a seamless experience. When you buy an eligible card on eBay, it can be sent directly to the eBay Vault at checkout. Or, if it's already in the eBay Vault, you can just keep it there. And selling from the eBay Vault is just as easy. Every card in the vault has been expertly inspected, detailed, and photographed, so you can quickly sell it with a pre-populated listing. And if your buyer chooses to withdraw their card from the eBay Vault, we handle packing, shipping, and insurance. And same goes for you. If you want that rare rookie card in your hands, you can have it shipped to you at any time. Collect like a pro with the eBay Vault.
And Zap, the eBay Vault is climate controlled, insured, and protected with 24-hour security. Soon, you'll be able to send cards already in your collection directly to the eBay Vault. They will take high-quality photos of the front and back of the card and document all the details for your viewing pleasure, and to make the listing-to-sell process seamless. For more info, go to ebay.com, connecting buyers and sellers globally.
2 reads you did flawlessly today. I'm very impressed. Very impressed.
I'm a strong reader.
You are very good. I'm sure you did well in grammar school. All right, listen, Bobby's still with us, and let's bring in our other guest, a very dear friend of the show. This guy's been with us since day one.
He's a legend.
He is the legend. The executive director of the National Sports Collectors Convention, John Broggi. Mr. Broggi, how are you?
Morning, everybody. How are you?
Good.
How are you, buddy?
So this is a interesting year for you, but let's talk about. Do we Can we talk about that or no?
Sure, if you'd like. I mean,
well, all right. I mean, listen, you and I have spoken off record, and you have been great to this show. But not only that, you and Mike, the late Mike Burkus, your crew has been phenomenal, and has taken the National to another level. This is your last year as the executive director of the National. I'm sure it's going to be bittersweet, but you've got to be excited that this is, this last year is in Chicago. Tell us about it.
Absolutely. I mean, I get to go to Gibson's every night, as you know. Nothing wrong with that. Yes, the board of directors decided not to renew our contract, which expires after this show. They're going with another group. We felt that we had done a great job and would have liked to have continued, but they've chosen to go in a different direction. But we're going to put on the best show ever, as we have for the last 3 or 4 years. As you know, the National in Chicago is second to none. It's just the central location makes it a great venue for us. We've expanded the size of the show floor. I know people have talked about trying to get booths at the National. We've added another 40 booths this year. But I don't know how much further we can use on the bottom floor of Rosemont. And the venues that houses are just, there are very, very few still remaining. But we're expecting a great show in Chicago this summer. And we know you guys will be there broadcasting for us.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And Bobby, by the way, jump in. Any questions you have, feel free to jump in. John, how many years have you been doing the National?
Well, I've been involved with the National since probably 1985 or 84. Mike and I started to run the show in 2006 in Anaheim, but I've been involved with it with other groups from 1998 on, as well as running the show. Mike, as you mentioned, passed away in 2015, and his son Dan came on board for the Atlantic City show in 2016, and he and I have been running it since then. So it's a good long time. It's a good long time.
John, in the years you've been doing it, and I echo Zap's thoughts, you've done an amazing job. The first one I did was that one, 2016, in Atlantic City, and it's just gotten better and better every single year. What are the biggest kind of changes, developments, whether it's plus minus, that you've seen over the years in preparing and putting on a show like this?
Well, I think as the industry has grown over the last several years, and there have been so many new players, our corporate pavilion has grown. One of the reasons we had to increase space in Chicago is because a lot of the people that we had in our corporate pavilion in Atlantic City would have been shut out if we didn't expand the corporate pavilion. And we've wound up doing that. So I would say the growth of the industry hobby, if you will, has caused a lot more companies to want to participate. To be able to fit those, we have to increase the space. That plus starting right just before COVID, the attendance has just skyrocketed.
Been off
the
the
last
charts.
3 shows have been the largest we've run.
Bobby, have you ever been to the National?
Yeah, I have. We go as guests sometimes, and we've had a booth a couple of times. It's so fantastic, and I mean the growth of the industry is just unbelievable, and the corporate booths are just, they're getting bigger and bigger. John, I mean, congratulations on shepherding.
I'm gonna direct this question to both of you. John, you first, and then you, Bobby. Your thoughts. John, it seems as though you made a point that with the inception of COVID, things just kind of exploded. It also seems as though, in the last 3 years, does it go hand in hand with COVID? The influx of young speculators / investors in the card world, buying modern cards up. Do you think that it's all interrelated? The fact that all of these investors and speculators had some time in their hand and really got back into it?
Absolutely. The 18 months or so where we just stayed at home for the most part gave people an opportunity to get involved in an online basis. And these people, for the most part, have stayed involved in the hobby. And the fact that the National was one of the first events after things broke with COVID in July of 2021, had people coming out in droves to be able to see what prior to that they just saw online. So they got to meet the people they were dealing with. They got to physically see some of the cards that they wanted to buy before they bought them. So I think it's 100% due to COVID and the follow-up results of it.
Bobby, have you seen that on your side of the fence? Did things spike with COVID, during the COVID pandemic and since that time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people had such disposable income and couldn't leave their house, and so participating in an online auction and focusing on their collections definitely happened. So, for us, it was a boom, and we're staying kind of consistent with where we were. So,
it's interesting. Bob, I'm sorry, Jam, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask John. I mean, people probably don't realize, or maybe they do, people that have been there. It's such a huge undertaking logistically, this event. It's not for us. We kind of focus on the things there, the cards, the vendors, the booths and stuff like that. But it really is year long, isn't it, John? I mean, when Atlantic City ended last year, I imagine your thoughts moved right to 2023, right?
Absolutely. We actually made a trip into Chicago in September because we've changed a little bit of the way the show floor is situated. We had to make sure that we could have a place for people who got there early, and everybody gets there early. We open the show at 10 o'clock. People are waiting in line at 8 o'clock. So we have to have a place for these people to be able to wait and get staged to get in. So we looked at that. There are a variety of different entrance points for the show. We've got to be able to deal with that. So, yeah, it's a year-round thing. We're signing corporate sponsors right now. We started selling tickets for the show in November on Cyber Monday, and we've already sold out of super VIP tickets. You can't buy any more of those.
Yeah.
VIP tickets and general admission tickets and 5-day packages are still available, but the interest early is crazier than ever.
John, you've seen, obviously, over the years, the evolution of this convention, where at one time, I'm sure it was just card dealers and then card dealers and auction houses. Now it's card dealers, auction houses, a space age type technologies. I mean, it's like amazing how it has evolved.
Yeah, originally in 1980, when Mike and Gavin Riley and the crew created the first National, it was strictly vintage cards. That's all anybody cared about. That's all they did. Topps was the only card producing company. They put out one set a year. So there wasn't a lot of new card interaction. As the industry has grown and as people have gotten more involved, there are multiple card companies. We also bring in grading companies. There was no such thing as PSA back in 1980. Right. So the auction houses are an integral part of our industry. And the fact that we've been able to absorb all of those aspects, I think, gives credit to the National to be the event that everybody needs to be at every year. But you're absolutely right. The evolution of the hobby this is the 43rd National over the 43 years is something you could write a book about.
It's unbelievable. Hey, listen, we got about a minute left. Bobby, let's get back to you real quickly. Your website. So, folks, I'm telling you, you got to check it out. If you're not going to bid, at least go check it out.
Right.
It's an amazing auction. What is your website address, Bob?
It's rrauction.com. We've got an auction ending February 8th and another one on the 15th. The whole PSA encapsulated auction. So come check it out, rrauction.com.
And John, if people want more information on the National, where can they go?
The website for the National is nsccshow.com, National Sports Collectors Convention Show.com. You can buy tickets there. We'll publish all the information. And our social media sites are very, very active. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Yep. So check us out.
Well, John, I want to thank you. You know what you've meant to this show.
Sure.
You have been a catalyst for us.
Yep.
as well as PSA. You guys have really always been supportive. Obviously, we're going to talk to you down the road before the National a few more times, but congratulations on another, what's going to be a spectacular show. Bobby, same to you. Good luck with the auction. And Bobby, if that George Washington thing doesn't sell, feel free to just drop it in the mail to me. That would be a very nice gesture in your part.
You can use
Your
the free
check won't clear. Your check. We don't take your check.
Use the free. Use the free franc. You won't even need a stamp.
A free franc. That's right. With that being said, JM, have a great week. To
All
our
right,
viewers
Zap.
and listeners, thank you so much for the support. I mean, we are on so many different platforms now. I can't keep track of them. Although I know that when Ellen gets really ticked off at me when we're having our cocktail and I say, Alexa, play the Great American Collectibles Show, she goes ballistic.
It's awesome.
With that being said, guys, have a great week. And remember, happy collecting.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.